Never before, and really never again, has there been a crime of this nature actually perpetrated by a woman in Australia.
She's disgraceful. I can't comprehend what she's done.
A murder so inexplicably heinous, it still affects all of the officers called to the scene to this day.
Nothing could prepare you for what you're about to see. Whatever had done this was obviously a monster, and we had to do something. We had to somehow finish it.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
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 We're back.
Well, welcome.
We're back off hiatus.
For now.
No, we're back. We're back, baby.
I hope. We'll see. But if you're a first-time listener, thanks for coming. And we definitely didn't just take 4 months off. But if you're a repeat customer, then sorry, and thanks for your patience. But
A repeat customer, like they're at the grocery store.
yeah, so because what's the phrase? It's been a long time. The dead spot, where life is short and death is forever.
I don't think that's our phrase. I think that's your phrase.
Except for our hiatus is also forever.
No, it's not. That's why we're back.
Yeah. So
Well, we got married. And you know what? That took up a lot of time. And then, other stuff.
other things.
But we're back now.
Yeah.
For now, I'm drinking an Alani. If the crowd wants to know.
What else happened since the Bills traded Stephon Diggs to Houston? And that's fine. Bye.
Bye.
Smell you later. What else?
We didn't win the Stanley Cup.
No, but 5 former Sabres did. So the Sabres are great at building cup winners, but just not in Buffalo. So,
We started watching The Sopranos.
yeah. Well, you did. I'm on my second trip around the sun with Tony and co.
Yep.
And that's getting pretty great.
I've read 26 books so far this year.
Yeah.
It's low.
That's pathetic.
It's low.
It's pathetic. Mm-hmm. Gotta kick it up. I've read 0 books this year, which is pretty standard for me.
Nuh-uh, I thought you read a couple for research.
I read 1 last year. For Sally House.
Well, never mind. That's all I got. Oh, that trial just happened. I think it's Karen Reed.
I don't know who that is.
She's the one who ran over her fiance,
Nope.
who's a cop. Mistrial. Not good. I'm surprised you haven't seen this.
Nope, go figure.
I think it's Karen Reed. We might have to cut that out. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I'll leave it in. Maybe you could just look into it since we need more content. So, and if you have any ideas, send them along to me because we have a bunch of other stuff going on, so we don't have time to sit around all day and do this. So that's why we just haven't been back in 4 months. So
Yeah, we're working a lot. Our other jobs.
And this is a lot more work.
Our jobs that pay us.
This is a lot more work than you might think, especially when you got to research shit. That's why we're going to start a side podcast, hypothetically, about sports, where we don't have to do a lot of research and just talk about stuff.
But I don't know a lot about sports.
That'll make it more fun, but we'll do that, maybe.
Well, we're still going to do this, because...
But we'll let you know.
Well, we're still going to do this.
So.
I like to research. It just takes a lot of time.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time. So, with that being said...
So anyway, for today's episode...
Today's episode...
Brought to you by My Alani Nu.
Yeah, sponsor us. So, March 1st, 2000, where were you?
I don't know. I think I was in 4th grade.
What were you doing on March 1st, 2000? Where were you?
What day was it?
I don't know.
What day of the week?
Can anybody confirm your whereabouts? Guilty.
Okay.
Anyways, the day before was February 29, 2000. It was a leap day, which occurs once every 4 years, including this year, the year of our Lord, 2024.
I thought you were going to say the year of our Lord and Savior.
Josh Allen. March 1st is Barista Day, as well as World Compliment Day. So on March 1st, compliment your baristas. They're like, wow, that's a sick coffee. Thanks.
Okay,
And
I will.
don't be a Karen and scream in their face because their jobs ain't worth it. Relax. In 1803, on March 1st, Ohio became the 17th state to join the United States.
Cool.
It's pretty cool. 64 years later, in 1867, on March 1st, in case you didn't get what I'm going for here, Nebraska became the 37th state to join the U.S.
Nice.
In 1941, Captain America issue number 1 was published by Timely Comics, which would later be known as
I don't know.
Marvel.
Marvel.
Comics.
Duh. That's what
duh.
I was going to say.
Duh, hello. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy founded the Peace Corps.
Did you know he's still alive?
That's John F. Kennedy Jr. He did not die in a plane crash, and he's going to come back and be the next president or something. I don't know. March 1st, 1977, is it Betty Davis? Probably Betty Davis, I think. Became the first woman to win the Life Achievement Award. In 1984, MAC Cosmetics. Are you familiar?
Yes.
The makeup brand was founded in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, on March 1st, 1984.
Nice.
And March 1st, it always comes back to this, in 1998, James Cameron's Titanic became the first film to gross more than $1 billion worldwide.
Titanic. What a movie.
Classic film.
What a movie.
And some famous birthdays on March 1st include the Biebs.
Justin?
Yeah, not the pitcher for the Cleveland Guardians.
His name is Biebs?
Shane Bieber.
Never heard of him.
Anyway, Kesha.
Kesha.
Ka dollar sign huh.
Morning.
Ka dollar sign huh.
Feeling like...
No.
I didn't say it.
Woke up in the morning like fuck P. Diddy.
Yeah.
Because I saw a clip of her doing that live recently. Because we don't stand P. Diddy in this household, or Puff Daddy, or Sean Combs, or whatever the fuck else he was called. Puffy. No Puffy.
No Puffy.
No.
No Puffs.
No.
Cheese Puffs.
also-
But we do stand Cheese Puffs.
Also born on March 1st. You've been watching this fella a lot lately.
Supernatural?
Pick one. Which one?
Jansen Ackles.
Yeah. Jensen Ackles, March 1st.
Oh, his name's Jensen? I thought it was Jansen.
Jensen.
Wait, what is it?
Jensen.
Jensen?
Jensen.
Jensen.
But on the morning of March 1st, 2000, police were called to the home of 44-year-old John Price. When John failed to show up at work that morning, a concerned coworker called the police after he spotted what appeared to be blood on the front door of his home.
You know what, I just want to say real quick, if I failed to show up to work, I don't think any of my coworkers would think I was dead. They would probably think I just didn't want to come to work.
I mean, I mentioned it on a previous episode, but if there's any benefit to showing up to your job every single day, it's if in case something happens to you, people will notice.
Like, I feel like they would just be like, she didn't feel like coming today.
But if you take a day off every week, then nobody's going to notice.
Well, I don't do that.
I'm not talking about you.
Oh, I thought that felt accusatory.
No, but just saying. I mean, fuck the man, but show up to work regularly and people will notice when you're not there. Upon arriving around 8 a.m. and making entry into the home, officers were met with a pool of blood in the hallway, as well as spatter and smears around the rest of the home. Investigating officers then pushed aside a curtain hanging over the doorway to the kitchen as they made their way through the home looking for any signs of life, but John was nowhere to be found. In a side bedroom, they eventually found 44-year-old Katherine Knight passed out after swallowing a handful of pills. Upon waking her, she was detained and taken into custody, all while claiming she had no idea what had happened the night before on February 29, 2000. So, let's take a rewind and find out whom this groggy old biddy is and how she found herself in this situation.
Whom this groggy old biddy is?
The groggy old 44-year-old biddy.
I hope she's a murderer, because I don't think you can just say things like this about people.
Well, only almost 10 minutes into this episode, so sit tight.
Strap in. Should I put on my seatbelt?
Yeah, click in. All right. Katherine Mary Knight was born on October 24, 1955 in Tenterfield, Australia. Her twin sister Joy was born about a half an hour earlier, and she also had 6 other siblings.
Okay.
Katherine was the hold on, I'm trying to nail this down. Katherine was the product of an affair between her mother Barbara Rowan and Ken Knight. At the time of Katherine's birth, her mother Barbara had already birthed 4 boys and also met Katherine's father Ken through her husband. Ken was her husband's supervisor at work.
Oh.
Yeah, one of them fucking situations. Classic. Already being the product of a scandalous love affair, her upbringing was traumatic due to a mix of alcoholism, domestic violence, and sexual abuse. Are you familiar?
I mean,
well, not personally, but like, you know, this is a common thread in a lot of these situations here.
I feel like a lot of these people that grow up, like, to hurt other people always end up in one of these situations, like, growing up.
Most of the time. Ken was a violent alcoholic and would regularly rape Katherine's mother up to 10 times a day. A day.
First of all, that's out of control.
10x.
That's
per diem.
That's fucked up.
Yep. That's... we do not stand rape either. Anyway...
And that's her dad, Ken?
Yeah. Katherine had also claimed that she was sexually abused by various men, including several family members, until she was 11 years old, but denied her father was one of them. Katherine's schoolmates recall her being a bully who would regularly pick on smaller kids and act out in rage when things did not go her way. Katherine eventually pieced out of school at age 15 and joined the workforce as a cutter in a clothing factory.
She said, "See you later, bitches."
Yeah, I don't need this shit. I'm going to go cut clothes in a factory. But just a year later, at the ripe age of 16, it's reported that she also had a fascination with knives.
Oh.
So naturally, as one with an affinity for sharp instruments and a side of violent tendencies, she landed her dream job working at an abattoir.
What's that?
Well, let me tell you. An abattoir, also known as a slaughterhouse. She was working alongside her twin sister and her brother, Charlie.
So we're all just working in a slaughterhouse?
It was like a family type thing. Because I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but I think it was her father that also worked there. So just following in her pappy's footsteps there.
Her pappy?
Little pappy. She began cutting up offal. Not awful, awful. You feel me?
No.
I'm still... It's awful.
Awful?
Not awful. Right?
Like, can you give it to me with spelling?
Awful.
Awful?
Yeah.
Like, terrible?
No. Awful. Not awful. Awful.
Am I stupid?
Awful. It's spelled O-F-F-A-L. Awful.
That's why I said, can you give it to me with spelling?
She began cutting up offal, a.k.a. the organ meats of slaughtered animals. Heart, liver, tongue, kidney, etc. Katherine was such a good slaughterer, she eventually received a promotion to boning. Boning includes breaking a carcass into parts and removing the flesh from the bones. Way to go, Kathy!
Yep.
Along with her promotion, she was gifted a shiny brand new set of her own butcher knives, which she proudly took very good care of and made sure they were sharpened at all times, so she could be the best damn slaughterer in Australia.
You know what? Knives are expensive.
Yeah, well, we just got a set.
We finally just got a set.
Them shits is sharp, brother. It's very different. It's a lot easier.
There's nothing like cutting meat with a good knife.
It's a lot easier to trim fat off of steaks and chicken and shit when your knives are sharp enough. It's worlds of difference. So get some good knives for your meats. Katherine was so proud of her work and her knife set that she had even hung them up above her bed, so they, quote, would always be handy if I needed them.
Well, that's disturbing.
Well, you never know.
That's like the same people that hide like knives under their pillows. When
Until
they're like,
you're-
you never know when I'm going to need this. Someone breaks
exactly.
in.
Until you're in a situation where you're like, damn, I wish I had knives hanging above
You know
my
what
bed, and you
happened?
fucking don't.
You know what happened? I put a knife under my pillow and I ended up stabbing myself with it in my sleep.
That would be if you could ever get to sleep. In 1973, Katherine Knight crossed paths with her slaughterhouse co-worker, David Kellett, and they began a romantic relationship.
Why'd you say it like that? A romantic relationship.
Because you're supposed to
Like
go,
you're the guy.
"Ooh."
Ooh.
Soon enough, in 1974, the two were married.
Married. Did they go to Vegas like we did?
No, they're in Australia.
Oh, yeah. Do you think they got married in the slaughterhouse?
No, I'll tell you where. Their plan was for a small town hall wedding, wherein they'd arrive on David's motorcycle with her driving it and him riding on the seat behind her.
So he'd be riding bitch on his own motorcycle?
Yeah, before
Oh my
celebrating
God.
with some friends and family at a local pub afterward.
I'd be like, no, lady, I drive this.
However,
it's my bike.
Well, girls can drive bikes too.
Yeah, but it's his bike.
Well, she's a bad bitch.
Bad bitch lure, as Meg the Stallion would say.
However, on the day of the that's not Australian.
No, that was my British accent.
However,
This is a mess.
However, no. Maybe I'll try again later. However,
Okay.
on the day of their wedding, Barbara's mother. Who the fuck is Barbara? What the fuck?
I was just gonna say, who is Barbara?
Who the
I
fuck
thought
is
we were
Barbara?
on Catherine.
I thought so too.
Maybe her mom's name is Barbara.
Maybe. So, yeah. Catherine's mother, who's probably named Barbara, right? Didn't I say that? Sorry, guys. It's been a while. Yeah, her mother, Barbara. Okay. Guys, I'm sorry.
It's okay, we forgive you.
It's been 4 months.
We're rusty. We gotta get back into it.
Anyway. However, on the day of their wedding, Barbara, Catherine's mother, had some words of advice for David. This is a quote from David, so should I try the Australian now? The old girl said to me, watch out. You better watch this one or she'll fucking kill you. Stir her up the wrong way or do the wrong thing and you're fucked. Don't ever think of playing up on her. Cheating on her. She'll fucking kill you. And that was her mother talking. She told me she's got something loose. She's got a screw loose somewhere.
Listen, if like someone came up to me and they're like, Ashley, Garrett will literally kill you if you make him mad, I'd be like, I might rethink this.
I can change him.
No, I never think I can change anybody.
Hey, ladies or men, or
PSA, they'll never change.
you can't change nobody for fucking nothing, so don't try. Save yourself and leave. Good.
Yep.
Now that that's out of the way, David would indeed find that out for himself later that very night.
R.I.P. David.
Their own wedding night.
Damn.
Now officially husband and wife, they got down to business.
Business.
Not once, not twice, but thrice.
I mean, why is this important to the story?
They sexed thrice.
I mean, I guess good for you for having good stamina.
Well, he didn't.
He was dead?
Hold on, dude. While Catherine wanted a fourth helping of some David pie,
Catherine, get it together.
He was downright exhausted.
Yeah, no kidding.
But Kathy wanted more. So she turned over, got on top of him, and began strangling him, as one does. But he managed to fight her off, and they continued their very normal marriage. So she's like, hey, Davy boy, give me that piece.
He's probably like, first of all, I'm gonna need some Viagra if you want me to go again.
And he's like, all it's coming out now is dust, Catherine.
Dust?
I can't go anymore.
There's dust. You should probably see a physician.
And then she's like, all right, I'll just fucking strangle you then. And he's like, and then they're like, all right, this is going to work out.
That was something.
Happily ever after and such. So, they continue on together. One night, David was out at a darts competition. Like throwing darts.
Why do I keep imagining this is happening in, 1855, and it's, what year is this?
I don't know. 70s? Yeah, 70s. 1970s. Australia.
Anyway.
One night, David was out at a darts competition. Oh,
wait, is this still her, mother? Who is this? Is this her, the lady?
This is Catherine and David. They just got married.
The people in the beginning of the story?
No, this is Catherine. And David. Barbara's her mother.
Wait. Catherine's the one that cheats on her husband with his supervisor?
No, that was her mom.
That was her mom.
That was Babs.
Oh, that was Babs.
So
okay.
Babs cheated on her husband with her husband's supervisor.
Right, but Catherine's the one who wakes up
Catherine was,
after taking pills.
Hold on. Catherine was the product of that affair.
Yeah.
So, when I started the story, Catherine was the one the police found in the house.
Okay, yeah.
After swallowing a handful of pills, mate.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
Well, because you said this happened in 2000, so I was confused.
And then I said, let's go back and check on the old biddy where we got here.
Okay.
All right, now that that's sorted out. Anyways, in case you didn't hear it the first two times, one night, David was out at a darts competition. Old David was slinging them things with such precision that he found his way to the finals, while Catherine was waiting for him at home as she was pregnant with their first child.
She was with child.
When he came home late, she didn't give a fuck about how he fared in the competition. She's like, hey, mate, where you been? He's like, I was at the pub. I was winning the darts competition. But in her mind, he was out having an affair. So, what happened?
Did she try to strangle him again?
She burned all of his clothes and shoes.
Oh, shit.
As he was undoubtedly panicked and confused, she then followed that up by smacking him in the back of his noggin with a frying pan.
Oh, my God.
Like a fucking cartoon. Bong.
Wait, what was the noise?
Bong.
Dude, sometimes we hear these stories, I'm like, this can't be real life.
David was able to escape and flee to a neighbor's house where he collapsed because he was hit in the fucking head with a frying pan.
Dude, that's insane.
Can't confirm if it was cast iron or not, because those are heavy. But still a friggin' frying pan, mate.
He probably should, go to the hospital.
Also, I wonder if anybody in Australia is listening to this, but don't be offended by my attempt at your accent, mates. Oi. Mm-hmm. Anyway, he was treated for a severely fractured skull, but ultimately dropped any pending charges because she's so charming or something.
Are you kidding me? You know what? This is how abusive relationships work.
Yeah. Sometimes you emotionally abuse somebody you hit them in the head with a frying pan. Circle of life. That's marriage.
That's marriage.
They say the first year is the hardest.
That's what they keep telling us.
Anyway, their first child, Melissa Ann, was born in May of 1976. But not long after, David left Catherine for another woman who wouldn't abuse him or burn his clothes.
You know what? Honestly, probably good for him.
As you might guess, Catherine definitely understood and absolutely didn't react irrationally. So Catherine went for a walk with their new baby in a stroller the next day. Passers-by recall her jerking the stroller from side to side, like shaking it so violently they thought she was about to push the thing in front of a passing car.
Oh, you can't do that with the baby.
Catherine was then admitted to St. Elmo's Hospital, where she was diagnosed with postnatal depression and spent several weeks at the hospital to recover from her symptoms. Once Catherine was released from the hospital, she took little baby Melissa for another walk. This time, down by the train tracks, and, as one does, placed her on the railway line expecting a train to roll down the tracks. Choo-choo. Here comes the train. Choo-choo.
I'm a little shook.
Choo-choo. After leaving her baby on the train tracks, Katherine then proceeded to steal an axe from a backyard, went into town, and threatened to kill several people with it. While she was swinging an axe in random people's faces, a wandering homeless man known to locals as Old Ted
Found the baby.
was looking for food and instead found a 2-month-old baby chilling on the train tracks. Old Ted rescues baby Melissa reportedly minutes before the train came through.
God damn.
Katherine was admitted again to St. Elmo's Hospital, but signed herself out the very next day for whatever reason. That was allowed.
Yeah, like, I don't understand. You almost kill your baby 2 times, and they're like, free to go.
Welcome to St. Elmo's. You can sign yourself out whenever you want to.
Ew, don't ever do that again.
Is that what he laughs like?
I don't know, but I didn't like that.
Anyway, so she's at the hospital again.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Tommy. Here's Garrett.
Thanks, Elmo. Just a few days after that, Katherine grabbed one of her just-in-case knives from above her bed and enlisted the help of a neighbor by demanding she drive her to find David and his mother. Once en route with the woman and her son that she pretty much just kidnapped and is holding at knife point, Katherine held the knife to the woman's face and cut her cheek. When they stopped at a service station, the woman escaped to call police, but Katherine took the boy hostage before she was disarmed by the police. Back to the hospital for another psychiatric hold on old Kathy.
On old Kathy.
Katherine told the nurses she also planned to kill the mechanic at the service station who had fixed David's car because it enabled him to leave her. Then, once she was reunited with him, she planned to murder David and his mother. The police told David about her cuckoo nuts murder plot. Instead of staying as far away as possible, he opted to leave the other woman and move back to Aberdeen with his mother to support Kathy because she obviously needed mental help.
Okay, but like...
He's like, oh, you're a little batty there. How about I come back and, we'll get through this together?
No, that like never works out usually for the person that goes back. They usually end up getting killed.
Maybe. Upon her release from the psychiatric hospital in August 1976, Katherine was under the care of her mother-in-law, and they, along with David, moved to Ipswich, where she found work at a meat processing plant before they had a second child together, Natasha, in March 1980. On one day in 1984, miraculously, David returned home from work to find that Katherine wasn't there. She'd packed up everything along with her daughters and moved back to her parents' farm near Aberdeen.
Okay, so now she's just like, bye. Bye-bye. I wanted you, David, but now I don't want you anymore, so peace.
And he's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, he probably literally was like, thank the Lord. But also, he just had another baby with this woman, so probably not, like, the smartest choice.
No.
Do you think they had condoms in 1976?
Yeah.
Why aren't we using them?
Any Australians care to comment? Let us know. In 1986, Katherine fell for a local miner. Not like Drake. Miner. Like someone who works in a mine. A miner! 38-year-old David Saunders.
Mm-hmm.
So, let me try that again.
Wait, his name's David too?
Hold on. In 1986, Katherine fell for a minor. 38-year-old David Saunders.
So, like, is she only dating guys named David?
She's also 31 at the time, if you wanted to know. So, he's 38, she's 31 right now. Yeah, another David.
Was she like, I can only talk to men named David?
There's something about Dave.
Something about Dave. Just like, something about Pam.
The thing about Pam.
Oh, yeah.
Are you thinking of There's Something About Mary, the 1990-something film?
I don't know what I'm thinking.
Starring Ben Stiller and Cameron Diaz with a cameo from Brett Favre.
That was oddly specific.
Anyway, Saunders moved in with Kath and the kids just
Kath?
after a few months,
We're on nicknames now.
but
Cat.
also kept his own apartment, which
probably
Kathy
for the best.
thought was kind of sus. This kind of thinking would lead to her repeatedly kicking him out of her place based solely on what she thought he might maybe be doing with his apartment while she was not around.
You know what he's probably doing in the apartment?
Nothing?
Hosting hoes.
Not David,
Why not?
because he likes Kath for some reason.
Well,
But
apparently
as,
a lot of people liked Kath, and then they
as-
end up abused.
as charming as she is, she managed to convince him to move back in with her. Just like before, this relationship would also soon become toxic and violent. In 1987, David got a cute little dingo puppy. As far as I can tell, dingoes are native dogs to Australia and are generally living wild in the desert, but puppies can be raised as most domesticated doggos.
Oh, doggos.
Perhaps anybody familiar with dingoes can chime in and set me straight, mate.
Yeah, I don't know anything about dingoes. I thought they were wild animals.
All I know is that the dingo ate the baby, or whatever. No,
The dingo ate their
that's
baby?
not part of the story. You never
Oh.
heard that phrase before?
No?
The dingo ate the baby, or whatever.
What?
It's another one of those
No.
stereotypical things that not Australians think Australians say. Like, put another shrimp on the barbie, and a dingo ate the baby.
I have never heard this.
I don't fucking know. Australians, help me out, please. Anyway, Dave Saunders brought in a new addition to the family. To love and to cherish and to raise as a loyal companion. But Kathy had other plans. In her mind, he was having an affair behind her back and he was going to leave her, much like the previous David actually did. So, Kathy picked up the cute little baby dingo doggo and, with a flick of the wrist...
Is this a trigger warning for animal abuse?
Yeah.
So you should probably say that.
You should expect it.
Why would I just expect that?
Because of the content of this series of episodes we've done before?
I'm just saying.
Anyways.
What if someone's new here and has never listened to an episode?
Okay, anyways. This is not good for you. She sliced the throat of the dog
Oh my god.
with one of her above-the-bed knives. Just to send a message to David what would happen if he tried to leave her.
Dude, this bitch is insane.
So she's like,
Oi, David, don't try to leave me, otherwise this'll be your throat, mate.
and then it's night-night forever. She claimed that this was also retaliation for David kicking her in the stomach after she told him she was pregnant, but David very strongly denied that had ever happened.
I feel like that probably didn't happen.
I'll go with that too. So again, like the previous David, she followed up killing a puppy with knocking his ass out by hitting him in the head with a frying pan.
Kath's favorite move.
With the lady and the frying pans. So, as exactly as you might expect, David was like, that was silly. Please don't do that. Anyways, let's have another kid.
What?
So
Why do
they
people
did.
keep having kids with her?
So they did.
Oh my lord.
In 1988, Sarah, her third daughter. So David's like, oh yeah, that's lovely. We should buy a house now. Saunders put a deposit on a house and Katherine paid off the rest with her workers' comp claim, about $15,000 that she finally received after injuring her back after returning to work slaughtering animals in 1985.
Classic.
So now they got a little place of their own and she was so ready to decorate it. She
Decorate it in knives?
well, amongst other things like animal skins,
What? Ew.
skulls,
Oh.
horns, rusty animal traps, leather jackets, I guess, machetes.
Why does it sound like she's decorating like she's the guy from Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Rakes,
Or
and,
who's the guy with the...
and pitchforks.
Is that Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
That's a guy. Well, that's the film title.
What's the guy's name?
Leatherface.
Leatherface.
Yeah.
I feel like she would like him.
Well, we know he was based on Ed Gein. And
Ed Gein, what a guy.
what a silly little sailor he is, huh? So one day they went at it, not sexually, but they had a
I
big...
was literally about to be like, oh god, again?
No, it's just getting sexy or having violent arguments. And this one is the latter again.
Those are two different extremes.
She had a big old blowout argument. As a result, Kathy hit Saunders in the face with a fucking iron, like a clothing iron, before she stabbed him in the gut with a pair of scissors.
Damn, dude.
She hit him in the face with a hot iron so hard that the steam holes on the plate left circular marks on his face. So this lady's just out here beating the shit out of guys like she's in an episode of Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
With the frying pans and fucking...
I mean, honestly, maybe
leaving
that's...
iron marks on his face. That's straight up Saturday morning cartoon shit.
Maybe that's where she got it from.
Maybe. It is the 70s. Well, no, it's the 80s now. But apparently this was finally his last straw and he moved away to Scone, but soon returned to their home in Aberdeen to find that she had cut up all of his clothes. Again with the clothes. David ditched her ass and literally went into hiding. She tried to track him down, but no luck. Months later, David wanted to see his daughter, so he returned to find that Katherine told the police she was afraid of him and he would get violent with her, so they issued an apprehended violence order against him, similar to a restraining order in the United States. So, good for you, David. Get your ass out of there. Also, I'm not sure about the rules in Australia.
Why are you saying good for him?
So he can get away from her?
Yeah, but she put it on him, so he can't see his kid now.
Anyway.
First year of marriage is the hardest.
But that won't stop Katherine from moving on to another slaughterhouse co-worker in 1991.
Don't even tell me his name's David.
It was in that year she had gotten pregnant by 43-year-old John Chillingworth. And in 1992, she gave birth to Eric, her first son and fourth child with 3 men. While surprisingly, there were no reported incidents of frying pan-related violence between these two, their relationship lasted for about 3 years. Their love story came to an end after an affair was uncovered. Mm-hmm. But how the tables have turned. Kathy was the one having an affair, and she left him. The man with whom she was having an affair was John Price. So now instead of 2 Davids, we got 2 Johns.
Like, she can only date 2 different names, David and John.
Yeah, so she had a child with John Chillingworth, and then she's like, bye, Chillingworth.
I'm going to go hang out with this other
John.
John.
I want Price instead.
Bye, John. Hi, John.
I guess you could say, for Katherine, this Price was right.
You know what, though? You know what, though?
It's the Price is Right when you lose.
If you're having an affair, though, at least it's with a guy the same name as your guy.
Yeah, I mean, good on you.
Never gonna call him the wrong name in bed.
I mean, not to mention, they're also 2 of the probably most common fucking names ever.
John.
And David.
How many Johns do you know?
Personally? Mm-hmm. Uncle John, he's dead. John, we went to school with one, he was weird. John Bon Jovi.
You don't know John Bon Jovi.
Yeah, fuck Bon Jovi. John Paul Jones.
John Paul Jones.
The bassist from Led Zeppelin.
You don't know him either. I mean, personally. You say the names are so common.
Oh, your brother's friend, John? It's common. That doesn't mean I'm friends with a lot of them.
I'm just asking.
I have 2 friends. and one of them has a very common name. Yeah. And that's not even his technical birth name.
Yeah.
Shout out, Frank. But anyways.
Okay, well, how many Davids do you know?
David. Like David?
David.
Yeah. Shout out, Nate.
Shout out, David.
You know David. Dave, my boss.
Your boss?
Dave Matthews Band.
Okay, you don't know Dave Matthews.
I wish. That'd be so cool.
Shout out, Dave Matthews.
Shout out, Dave Matthews. We know you're listening. Dave.
I know.
Dave Thomas, founder of Wendy's.
I know 2 at work named Dave.
Dave and Buster's.
Dave and Buster's? Really?
Dave.
You got no one else?
Dave, the TV show starring Lil Dicky.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. John Charles Thomas Price, affectionately known as Pricey. Around Aberdeen, was referred to as a top bloke and was very down to earth.
You know, I wish... Side note. I just wish...
Somebody would call you a top bloke?
I just wish here they call people blokes. I just think it's cool.
We could
It
try
doesn't run off the tongue, though, with our dumb...
Hey there, how you doing, my bloke? What's up, blokey?
Yeah, what's up, bloke?
Hey there, bloke guy. Hey.
I'll just keep saying, what up, bitches?
Unless you say it in the accent, you got top bloke. Hey there.
Yeah, it only sounds cool with the accent.
Bloke. All right. John Price was born on April 4, 1955. The oldest of 6 children and dropped out of school at age 14. Similar to Katherine, who was one of 8 children and left school at age 15. Price had a reputation of being a hard worker and worked in heavy machinery, earth-moving equipment, trucking, and mining. So he was also a miner. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, Price's 15-year marriage to his wife Colleen had ended in 1988, and he fathered 3 children, two of which lived with him, while his 2-year-old daughter lived with her mother. It is noted that Price was made aware of Kathy's reputation for being a crazy, unhinged, frying pan-wielding, violent biatch when they met at a local pub.
Hold on, wait. So he knows about her reputation?
Yeah.
And he's still like, let's get it.
But you can't stop love. And she moved into his house in 1995.
Oh my God.
John had a very well-paying job, and his kids seemingly liked Katherine. Is it possible we have finally a happy ending wrapped in a beautiful bow?
No, because otherwise we wouldn't be doing this episode.
Do you want to repeat what you just said, and then I'll read you what I wrote?
I said no, because otherwise we wouldn't be doing this episode.
No, of course not. We wouldn't be here if that were the case. So
I didn't see what he wrote, by the way.
So Katherine suggested that if he likes it, he better put a ring on it.
If you like it, then you better put a ring on it.
After about 18 months together. But he was like, nah, fam.
Nah, fam.
So...
Too soon.
To get back at Price for turning her proposal... Hold on. So to get back at Price for turning down her proposal to be proposed to, what do you think she did?
She probably hit him in the head with a frying pan.
Well, surprisingly, she didn't get violent or reach for a frying pan. She opted to document via video camera items that she claims he had stolen from work to send to his boss.
Dude, that's so fucked up.
She would hold this evidence over his head in order to get him to comply with her demands. Good old-fashioned blackmail.
Did he actually steal this stuff, though?
While he did steal items she documented, they turned out to be expired first aid kits that he'd recovered from the company's landfill. But that didn't matter. John Price was fired, and his 17 years at the job he earned $100,000 annually went right down the drain, so he kicked her ass out.
Hell yeah, John.
But again, like previous ships, just a few months later, Katherine was allowed back into his life, but not into his house. As you might expect, now's the time Katherine decided to dust off her violent side and let her freak flag fly. Welcome back, old friend. In February 2000, an argument erupted between the two, a lover's quarrel, if you will, and it ended with Katherine attempting to stab him in the chest.
Classic.
The next day, John was having a chat with his coworkers and mentioned to them that he was actually fearing for his life. As far as he was concerned, he was a dead man.
You know what? I feel like one of my coworkers would tell me this, like at my job, because they tell me their entire life story all the time, and I would just be like, dude, you gotta like call the cops, you gotta get out of there. And they'd be like, it's fine, and then they wouldn't show up to work, and I'd be like, they're dead.
Well, sit tight. On February 29, 2000,
the night of the crime,
John stopped off at the Scone Magistrates Court while heading to work and filed a restraining order to keep that crazy bitch away from him and his kids.
Oh yeah, because the magistrates is like the cops, right?
Yes. That same day at work, John Price mentioned something to his coworkers that could unfortunately come in handy soon enough. He explicitly told his coworkers that if he did not show up to work the next day, it's because Katherine murdered him.
Okay, listen, if anyone ever told me, like, if I don't show up somewhere, it's because this person killed me, I'd be like, please don't put that on my shoulders.
Obviously, shooketh by this suggestion, his concerned coworkers pleaded with him not to go back to his house, but he told them he was afraid she'd target his children if he did not. Fair.
Yeah.
After another hard day's work, John Price returned home to find that Katherine was not there, but she did send the kids away to sleep over at his oldest daughter's house. So, just a total empty home. So John spent a few hours at his neighbor's house before going back home to go to bed around 11 p.m. Shortly after, Katherine also came home. So she made dinner for herself, watched TV, had a shower, then went upstairs to the bedroom to wake up Johnny Boy for a roll in the hay. Katherine had prepared for this moment as earlier in the day she went and bought herself a new sexy set of black lingerie.
Ow, ow!
For whatever fucking reason, after she tried to stab him in the chest, after she blackmailed him, resulting in the loss of a job he'd had for 17 years and a general fear of his life, he's like, I bet. Let's go.
Are you... Okay, well, first of all, he probably did it so that, she wouldn't kill him.
Well, probably. So, they do the sex.
They do sex.
And I don't know specifics of their session, but after completion...
Ew!
John... Or would you prefer climax?
Ew, why don't you just say when they're done? After they were done.
After completion of the climax...
Ew, come on.
John falls back asleep. Now, this is the moment where Katherine's violent side is maxed out and has evolved into her final form.
So she's mad because he went to sleep?
It's all really, 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 very, quite terribly, extremely, massively graphic and disturbing from this point on. So...
Well, that's your trigger warning.
Yeah, I guess. As Price was catching some Z's after slinging that D, Katherine reached for one of her trusty just-in-case knives she'd kept with her wherever she lived and slept and began plunging it repeatedly into John Price's chest.
Oh, God.
Talk about a rude awakening.
Yeah, no kidding.
Although he's in the midst of being sliced and stabbed, he somehow manages to escape the bedroom, all while leaving a bloody trail as he stumbled and fought his way to the front door. So... he's trying to get out, he's falling against the walls and everything and leaving blood everywhere. Mm-hmm. One of the large smears suggested he tried to flip the light switch on in a panic while trying to get away from Katherine. John was able to make his way to the front door, as some blood was later discovered on the outside screen door. But the 37 stab wounds proved to be too much for John. He ultimately succumbed to the vicious attack and bled to death. 37.
Well, you know what they call that on Criminal Minds? Overkill?
Yeah. Now, obviously, as he had mentioned to his co-workers the previous night, John Price did not show for work on the morning of March 1st, 2000. So they're like, Oi, he ain't here. He said that bloke said he might get got by the old crazy bat, right? Now, obviously, as he had mentioned to his co-workers the previous night, John Price did not show up for work on the morning of March 1st, 2000. Mm-hmm. A neighbor was also concerned to see that Price's car was still in his driveway, and soon enough, a concerned co-worker also showed up to see what the fuck is going on. What's going on with this bloke, mate? He didn't show up for work.
Well, yeah, but he also told his coworkers that he might be murdered.
Once the police arrived around 8 a.m., they peered in through the windows looking for any signs of life. They eventually made entry into the house through the rear door. As investigating officers made their way through the home, they noted that the kitchen doorway leading to the lounge room was covered with what appeared to be a large curtain. Officers pushed aside the curtain to investigate the next room. In the lounge room, they found a deceased human body with a large butcher knife beside it. They could only assume it was John Price because this body was missing its head. But there was also something strange about the curtain. It was cold to the touch. A responding officer noted that while the curtain felt cold, he also noticed that his arm was covered in blood. I must have injured myself busting down the back door, he thought. The curtain, hanging in the doorway, was human skin. All in one piece. A human pelt.
What? How do you mistake that for a curtain?
Because it was dark in there. John Price had been carefully and methodically skinned before having his head removed from his body. Pausing for shock.
What the fuck, dude?
New South Wales Supreme Court Justice Barry O'Keefe stated, quote, "It was carried out with considerable expertise and an obviously steady hand, so that his skin, including that of the head, face, nose, ears, neck, torso, genital organs, and his legs, was removed so as to form one pelt. So expertly was it done that after in the post-mortem examination, the skin was able to be re-sewn onto Price's body in a way which indicated a clear and appropriate, albeit grisly, methodology."
I wonder who would have the skills to do that. Maybe someone who works in a slaughterhouse?
I'm not sure, but let's also hear from Detective Senior Constable Peter Anthony Musio, who is a first officer on the scene and describes making his way through this horror show. I'm not going to do the accent this time.
Okay.
I entered the premises to conduct a cursory examination with Detective Sergeant Raymond. I walked in through the rear door and into the kitchen. Once inside the kitchen, I saw a large section of what appeared to be human skin hanging from the top architrave of the doorway leading into the lounge room. This piece of skin extended from the top of the doorway right to the floor and appeared to be an entire human skin. Looking through this doorway into the lounge room, I could see a headless and skinless human body. I walked east along the hallway and looked into the entry foyer and saw an extreme amount of blood pooled on the floor. There was also a large amount of blood smearing over the eastern wall of the entry.
First of all, how do you see that and, not have nightmares ever again for the rest of your life?
I'm sure they do. He continues. As mentioned earlier, I saw what appeared to be a complete human skin or pelt hanging from the top architrave of the door separating the dining room and the lounge room. On closer examination, I could distinguish black curly hair at the top, a nose, and part of the mouth and ear. About halfway down the pelt, I could see a clump of short black curly hair consistent with pubic hair. I could not recognize any other particular features as it continued to the floor. The edges of the pelt were incised, indicating to me that it had been removed with a sharp instrument. There were also a number of distinct stab wounds to the pelt, about a meter down from the top. The pelt was attached to the architrave by a stainless steel meat hook. Speaking of Texas Chainsaw, the hook was pierced through the top of the head area of the pelt and then hooked over the architrave on the lounge room side of the door. The skin appeared to vary in thickness from approximately 1 to 4 centimeters. I noticed a blood trail leading from the lounge room into the kitchen towards the kitchen cooktop in the vicinity of the aluminum boiler. The boiler was on the right side rear element, which was at the time turned off. When I lifted the lid to the boiler, I noticed it was warm to the touch.
I'm just really disturbed.
Yeah. So, now that we're in the kitchen, it appeared as though Catherine was preparing dinner. Detective Musio continues. The pot was full of liquid.
Don't even tell me his head's
And
gonna be
on
in
the
there.
surface, I could identify a skinned human head and a number of cooked vegetables. On the northern side of the aluminum boiler, I saw a baking dish, which was sitting across the right front side element. Inside the baking dish, I saw an amount of liquid and the remains of baked vegetables. Just to the right, or northern side of the cooktop, I saw 2 prepared meals. Each of the meals consisted of 2 pieces of cooked meat, baked potato, baked pumpkin, zucchini, cabbage, yellow squash, and gravy. Underneath each of the meals was a torn section of kitchen paper with a name written on it. The word Beaky, B-E-A-K-Y, was written in blue ink pen on one of the pieces, while the word Jonathan was on the other. I say Jonathan because it's spelled with O-N at the end, so Jonathan. 2 plates were set with the home-cooked dinner on the dining room table with notes next to them, each with a name of John's children on them. But that's not quite the end of this horror show. Remember the steaks that were prepared and set upon the plates on the dining table, next to notes written with John's children's names on them? Katherine had also cut off parts of John's buttocks and baked them in the oven alongside the vegetables. Those steaks were pieces of John, and Katherine had set them out for his son and daughter. Katherine attempted to feed pieces of John to his own children.
I mean, I wish that surprised me, but she's so fucked up, I'm not surprised.
A third meal was also found discarded in the backyard. It's unknown if it was thrown out intentionally or if perhaps Katherine had a taste of John for herself and just couldn't bring herself to finish it.
First of all, how'd you have time to do all this?
Katherine Knight had put her passion and skill of slaughtering and skinning animals to practical use by murdering, skinning, and decapitating her lover, John Price.
But, like, his coworkers came in the morning to check on him, so...
And he went home around 11 p.m.
So, like, how do you have time for all this?
So she got it done probably within 7 hours, we'll say.
Dude, this bitch is insane.
I mean, I don't know how long it takes to
Oh, you don't?
peel the skin off a human body.
You don't know how long it takes?
But then again, when you're skinning animals and all that shit since you're 16...
Like, all day, I guess.
And you're like, what, 44 now? Like, that's a long career. So, did that shit real quick, probably.
Yeah, I guess.
But an autopsy revealed that the victim was dead when he was skinned. So, you know, at least you got that.
At least he wasn't alive.
At least you got that going on. A razor-sharp knife had been inserted just under his collarbone and sliced horizontally across the top of the body from shoulder to shoulder, right under the clavicles. It was a straight, clean cut, anatomically precise. Then the knife was turned and cut down the chest and over the stomach to the pubic hairline and made into a T with another straight line. Tracing the knife tip around his pubic area and careful not to cut his penis or genitals, the killer cut down the front of John Price's thighs, over the knees, and to his feet. The killer then moved up the body, held his arms up, and cut down the back of each one and across the top of the victim's head. The killer then peeled the victim's skin off, including his head, his hair, his face, and all the way down the length of the body to the feet, exposing the victim's intestines. The entire skin was in one piece, including hair, face, ears, nose, mouth, genitals, and complete stab holes and dripping in blood. Hanging from the S-hook in the doorway, the feet were dragging on the ground. The killer then removed the victim's head clean at the C3-C4 junction, that's, in your spine, right at the top of the shoulders using a very sharp knife. The cut was precise and clean. The killer would have been covered in warm, sticky blood. According to forensic pathologist Dr. Timothy Lyons, who performed the autopsy, the whole procedure would have taken about 40 minutes.
That's it?
So I think you're overestimating how long it takes to fucking skin a human.
I mean, I guess.
But again, when you're doing it for 30 years, almost. How you doing?
I'm just disturbed.
I know. So that's why I included a little bit of a palate cleanser again, like I did in a previous episode, with some stupid fun facts. So, the worst is over. So, we'll share some seemingly useless bits of random trivia, shall we? Ready? I'm ready. On average, 100 people choke to death on ballpoint pens every year.
What?
So,
how?
Watch out by chewing on them, probably. And then they just inhale. I don't know. The only domestic animal not mentioned in the Bible is a cat.
Yeah, because aren't cats, like, evil?
Yeah, tell me about it. Anyway, hummingbirds are the only animals that can fly backwards. Pope John Paul II was an honorary Harlem Globetrotter.
Nice.
Edgar Allan Poe married his 13-year-old cousin. Oh. Al Capone's business card listed his job title as used furniture dealer. Dragonflies have 6 legs but can't walk. In the 1830s, ketchup was used to treat medical ailments such as diarrhea, indigestion, and jaundice. So,
Oh my god.
You know, like
you have some diarrhea, here's some ketchup.
You know, like Pepto-Bismol?
Yeah, but that's
if
not...
you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea. Like,
here's some ketchup.
Here's some ketchup for your diarrhea.
Wouldn't ketchup make your indigestion worse because it's, like, so acidic?
Well, I mean, in the 1830s, they also had, like, actual cocaine in Coca-Cola or whatever, right? Who knows? Or just used it to treat things. Cap'n Crunch. You familiar?
Yep.
Captain Crunch's full name is Captain Horatio Magellan Crunch.
Oh, Magellan, like the sailor?
Yeah.
Because he's a captain?
Yeah, duh. Mulan.
Yeah.
The Disney film. Mulan has the highest kill count of any Disney character.
Nice. What a badass bitch.
A Jiffy.
A Jiffy? Like at Amazon?
No. Like a... I'll be there in a Jiffy.
Oh.
A Jiffy Lube. Whatever. A Jiffy is about 1/1,000,000th of a second. So that's a Jiffy.
Be there in a Jeff.
So that was fun.
I'm gonna start saying that. Be there in a Jeff.
So that was fun anyways.
Be there in a Jeff.
So let's get back and wrap this shit up. As officers continued to investigate this house of horrors, they heard what sounded like snoring from a side bedroom. It was here they found Katherine Knight in a comatose state after swallowing a handful of pills, seemingly in an attempt to commit slip and slide.
To unalive herself?
Yeah, I hate that word.
I know, that's why I said it.
But I think saying commit slip and slide is fun. Anyways, don't do that. Talk to somebody. Anyways, once she was coherent enough, she immediately told them she had no idea what the heck even happened the night before.
Okay, Kathy.
Real convenient.
Okay, Kath.
Real convenient.
Fucking lying ass bitch.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was fucked up on pills. What happened? Fucking idiot. But it was soon uncovered that after she murdered John Price, Katherine traveled into town and withdrew $1,000 from his bank account at an ATM. What she needed that money for, or ended up using for, was never confirmed. Kathy first offered to plead guilty to the charge of manslaughter, because obviously this was accidental, but that offer was rejected by prosecutors. Katherine Knight's trial began in October 2001. As the trial commenced, Justice Barry O'Keefe offered a warning to the juror pool that they could be excused due to how extremely graphic the evidence that was to be presented was. 5 of the potential jurors took that excuse, and the judge adjourned to resume the next day. But the next morning, Kathy changed her plea to guilty, and Justice O'Keefe ordered a psychiatric assessment to ensure that she knew the consequences of her guilty plea and that she was fit to do so.
Okay, so I was listening to, I forget, another podcast, and they were saying, like, because I'm assuming she's gonna plead guilty by reason of insanity. Well, she's gonna try to anyway, but, like, dude, there's no way you don't know what you're doing when you do that. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're gonna skin someone alive and cut their head off and cook them so his kids could eat him, like, there's no way you don't know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. True. Fair.
Like, there's no way you're, like, blacked out. Oh my god, I was in a blackout rage.
Yep. Case closed. Next case. That's it. So, after all that, on November 8th, 2001, Justice Barry O'Keefe sentenced Katherine Knight to life in prison without the possibility of parole. With this ruling, Kathy became the first woman in the history of Australia to be given this sentence. The judge said she did not qualify for any mercy because of her cruel, vicious behavior. Quote, she showed him no mercy. She has not expressed any contrition or remorse.
Well, plus she has a history of violence. Sorry.
Well, to finish the quote, if released, she poses a serious threat to the security of society. So, as of this recording, Katherine Knight is 68 years old and is serving out her life sentence at Silverwater Women's Correctional Centre, a maximum security facility for women in Western Sydney, Australia, where she's known as the Nana to the other inmates, and I'm happy to report that she's found religion. She paints, knits, and sorts out disputes amongst other prisoners. But she's just not allowed near knives of any kind and is forbidden to have a cellmate. You know, just in case.
Yeah, because she'd probably hit them with something and then strangle them and then cut them open.
Just in case. So that's what I got for the story of Australia's first woman sentenced to life in prison without parole and certified violent murderess, Katherine Knight.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. So that was that.
Yep, so that was our new episode.
Otherwise, we're
Otherwise, have a great day.
gearing up for football season. This is the last month without NFL football till February.
You know what? I saw that yesterday and I thought about telling you that, but then I was like, he
I
already
fucking
knows.
know, dude. I think we're currently like 64 days away from the Bill season, so
Godspeed.
coming up close, boys and girls.
Can't wait. Can't wait to be like, Garrett, next year, it's going to be our year.
I tried to say boys and girls, but I just said boys and girls.
Yeah, I just ignored it.
Whatever. So that's what we got for you this time. So thanks for listening. If you're a first timer, thanks for showing up.
Yeah, thanks for showing up.
And if you're hearing this, that means you just sat through the last hour. So that's cool of you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, we're going to try to put out episodes every week, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Well, we're not going on a 4-month hiatus again.
Yeah, well, I can guarantee it'll be less than 4 months to the next one again. But, so just sit tight, hang back, and
We just got to get back in the groove of
keep
things.
kicking. Life's a garden. Just dig it.
That is so dumb.
Just keep on keeping on. And so we keep on keeping on.
Yep.
All right.
All right, bye.
All right, bye. Love you, bye.